Coming up, a review of the book Sati, Evangelicals, Baptist, Missionaries and the Changing Colonial Discourse, written by Dr. Meenakshi Jain. Namaste friends, my name is Shilil Subramanian Paimal and you are listening to the Histology podcast. Before I proceed, a full disclosure. This book was bought with my own money and not been provided to me by the author or publisher. Little bit about the author. Meenakshi Jain is a historian interested in cultural and religious developments in Indian history. In 2020, she was awarded Padma Shri by the Government of India for her contributions in the field of literature and education. Her recent publications include Vishwanath Rises and Rises, The Story of Eternal Kashi, The Hindus of Hindustan, Vasudeva Krishna and Mathura, Flight of Deities and Rebirth of Temples, The Battle for Rama, Case of the Temple at Ayodhya, and Rama and Ayodhya. About the book, quote, Lord Bentinck's Regulation 17 of 1829, which declared Sati a criminal offence, marked the culmination of a sustained campaign against Hinduism by British evangelicals and missionaries anxious to Anglicize and Christianize India. The attack on Hinduism was initiated by the evangelist Charles Grant, an employee of the East India Company and subsequently member of the Court of Directors. In 1792, he presented his famous treatise, Observations on the State of Society among the Asiatic Subjects of Great Britain. A harsh evaluation of Hindu society, it challenged the then current Orientalist policy of respecting Indian laws, religion and customs set in motion by the Governor-General Warren Hastings. Grant argued that the introduction of the language and religion of the conquerors would be an obvious means of assimilating the conquered people to them. He was joined in his endeavours by other evangelicals and Baptist missionaries who began arriving surreptitiously in Bengal from 1793. This is not a work on Sati per se. It does not address in any depth issues of the possible origins of the rite, its voluntary or mandatory nature, the role, if any, of priests or family members, or any other aspect associated with the actual practice of widow immolation. Its primary focus is the colonial debate on Sati, particularly the role of evangelicals and Baptist missionaries. It argues that Sati was an exceptional act performed by a minuscule number of Hindu widows over the centuries. Its occurrence was, however, exaggerated in the 19th century by evangelicals and Baptist missionaries eager to Anglicize and Christianize India. Unquote. This brilliant book stands out for its nuanced approach to understanding the socio-political and cultural dynamics surrounding Sati. Through a thorough analysis of historical documents, missionary reports and colonial records, Dr. Jain presents a critical narrative on how British evangelicals and Baptist missionaries engaged with the practice and sought to influence colonial policy. The author has also explored the reactions and resistance from various Indian communities to the missionary discourse and colonial interventions. By highlighting the perspectives of Indian reformers, traditionalists and other stakeholders, the book provides a well-rounded view on how Sati was perceived and contested within Indian society itself. Some of the things I personally found interesting. First, was Sati a religious obligation? For a considerable period, the religious legal text contained no definitive reference to Sati. Second, the increasing incidence of Sati has been attributed to contact with Muslim culture. Hindus subjugated and displaced by Muslim invaders, it is argued, displayed an exaggeration of the traditional concern for female chastity, and a loss of their cultural prestige led high caste Hindus to kill girl babies and young widows. Third, though instances of Sati were reported from among the Marathas, they attempted to prohibit the custom. The celebrated Queen Ahilya Bai discouraged it and vainly tried to dissuade her widowed daughter from mounting the pyre. Before the 18th century ended, two Maratha states, the Peshwa's personal domains and Tanjore had prohibited Sati. The Raja of Tanjore described Sati as a barbarous and inhuman rite. He told his wife not to sacrifice herself when he died. Fourth, there is a whole separate chapter titled Sati as described in foreign accounts, which mentions the earliest historical account of Sati available by Diodorus of Sicily, describing an incident that occurred in 316 BC after the death of Alexander the Great. The next definitive account of Sati after Diodorus appears to have been the Moroccan traveller Ibn Battuta. There is also a reference of Sati in Ceylon. The first new European account of Sati in centuries was by the Venetian traveller Marco Polo. There are some accounts of Sati from Central and South India in the 15th century. The Venetian merchant Niccolo Conti was the first foreigner to visit Vijayanagar and write an account of it. Fifth, W. H. Sleeman, the well-known colonial administrator, after he was compelled to grant permission to a widow while serving in Jabalpur district in November 1829, wrote this, quote, I must do the family the justice to say they all exerted themselves to dissuade the widow from her purpose, and had she lived, she would assuredly have been cherished and honored as the finest member of the whole house. There is no other people in the world among whom parents are more loved and honored and obeyed than among the Hindus, and the grandmother is always more honored than the mother. No queen upon her throne could ever have been approached with more reverence by her subjects than was this old lady by all the members of her family as she sat upon a naked rock in the bed of the river with only a red rag over her head and a single white sheet over her shoulders." Unquote. Sixth, East India Company officials in India also demonstrated a resolve to control missionaries. The governors of most provinces remained convinced that India could be held only as long as the natives believed there was no danger to their religion. Lord Hastings and Lord Amherst discouraged missionary educational efforts but not attempts at proselytization. Seventh, the French Jesuit Abbé Dubois severely criticized Baptist attempts to paint Hindus in the blackest and the most odious colors. Most people, Dubois claimed, died in France and England every month through suicide and dueling than widows burnt in a year. In short, the Sati issue was the most forceful created by the Evangelical Utilitarian Alliance to validate British rule in India. Sati, Evangelicals, Baptist Missionaries and the Changing Colonial Discourse is a significant contribution to the study of colonial India, offering readers a deep and reflective look at how cultural practices were entangled with colonial ideologies and missionary agendas. Jain's scholarly rigor and balanced approach makes this book an essential read for anyone interested in the intersections of religion, colonialism, and cultural transformation. In conclusion, Meenakshi Jain's work provides a valuable and critical perspective on the legacy of colonialism in India, shedding light on the complex and often contentious interactions between British missionaries, colonial authorities, and Indian society. Her detailed research and thoughtful analysis makes this book a significant addition to the field of colonial and post-colonial studies. I give this book 4.5 out of 5. The hardcover version of this book is available for around 850 rupees on Amazon India and for rupees 995 on Flipkart. But I highly recommend that you buy the book directly from the publisher's website, that is arinbooks.com, where it is available for only rupees 795. The book is available for around $37 USD on Amazon USA. At the time of recording this review, the book is not available in Kindle or Audible format. I have given the respective buy links in the show notes. Please check them out for the latest prices. Last but not the least, thank you for spending a valuable time listening to this book review. Really grateful. Please don't forget to subscribe to the Histology podcast on your favorite podcasting app, and also feel free to leave a review. Also, please check histology.com for all previous episodes. Thanks and looking forward to hearing from you. Take care and bye.